Hello, I'm Monica Price and welcome to Cuppa TV. On today's show we welcome singer-songwriter Berenice Scott, who is currently on her sellout tour here in the UK, and then she's heading off to Japan. We also welcome back our tax expert, the Negotiator, who asks the taxing question, are the wealthy getting away with murder? Guest today, we welcome back the tax expert, the Negotiator, who talks to us about how the wealthy get away without paying tax. Are the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer? Welcome back, Jeff. Very nice to see you. Thank you. So, tell us about how we even begin to think about tax and the minefield that it is.
Well, my job is to save the wealthy money, loads of it, and I do that by saving them tax. We do that because the top 3,000 people in this country collectively pay more tax than the bottom 9 million. So we've got a very polarised society with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. And the fact is that people at the top have a choice as to how much tax they would like to pay. And we can legally minimise their tax bill by using mainstream tax planning. And that means that for a celebrity or a big business person paying 45% tax, with the right mainstream tax planning ideas, we can bring that down to, say, 20 or maybe even 16% income tax.
I mean, is it just the wealthy that are avoiding tax?
It's not just the wealthy, it's really across all sectors of society. If we look at tax avoidance, which of course is economic activity the government doesn't approve of, even though it's completely legal, tax avoidance covers people who are medics, people who work for the NHS, pilots do tax avoidance, agency workers, construction workers. In fact, it's all walks of life, not just people who are in the media or on football teams.
Because I think people do associate it with the wealthy more than any other sort of class of society. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's the effect of the Daily Mail and the government. But the fact is, for every one celebrity who's involved in tax avoidance, there are probably 1,000 normal people who are involved at the same time. And collectively, there are about 122,000 people in the country who avoid paying tax. So tax avoidance is basically a tax scheme which is put together by lawyers in the City of London and involves a clever series of transactions which is designed to artificially reduce your tax to zero.
I mean, that's just incredible. Tax to zero, I think everyone who's watching would like that idea. But what are the secrets, though?
Well, a tax avoidance scheme usually involves a set of commercial transactions and a set of artificial transactions. And the transactions create a loss which goes sideways against somebody's income, and that reduces the tax on their earnings to zero. So as you can imagine, this is economic activity the government don't approve of, and so whenever somebody gets involved in tax avoidance, there's always a great big argument with HMRC. But the fact is, some tax avoidance schemes work and some schemes don't. So
are they too high? Are the taxes too high, would you think, in this country?
I haven't really got an opinion. I'm an accountant, I'm not a politician. But I know people...
Interesting answer.
Yes, people definitely resent paying high taxes because they resent what the money is paid on, what it's spent on. They resent the grace and favour MPs they've got. They resent the burgeoning bureaucrats we've got in the country. And a lot of people avoid paying tax, particularly top earners.
I mean, so there isn't really a set people then, if you like, a different class of people that actually try to avoid the tax, to avoid this tax avoidance. It is just across the board in the UK.
Yes, tax avoidance in the UK is across the board, and I think tax avoidance is a useful title that politicians use when they try to get people to behave in a certain way. The fact is that tax avoidance is legal. It's operating within the letter of the law, and it's only politicians and perhaps journalists at the Times newspaper who use the term tax avoidance. And they try and make us think that what we're doing is wrong. But the reality is there's very widespread support for avoiding tax, either using a tax avoidance scheme or with more mainstream tax planning. So an example of mainstream tax planning might be setting up an incorporated company, paying dividends, paying out pensions, taking out mortgages. All of these items can be used to help reduce your income tax when you're self-employed.
And you help some very high-profile people, don't you?
We do a lot of normal people, we do a lot of medics, but we do come across celebrities as well. In fact, recently we came across a chap in London who owns a major airline, and he also owns a mobile phone company. And we were doing some tax planning at a dental surgery in Harley Street, and in he came. And he'd just been quoted £3,500 to have a filling done. And this chap can afford £3,500 for a filling, but he resents being ripped off and being charged a special price purely because he's a celebrity. And so Tony, who's the dentist in that surgery, said he'd do it for £120. And that particular celebrity has been he's been a patient ever since. And in fact, the patient is so powerful in terms of brand that we have to refer to him as patient number 173, because if you actually mention his name, everybody would want to be a patient at that practice.
Oh, really?
So yes, we do come across quite a few of the celebrities and royalty as well.
And when you're dealing with these clients, do you treat them exactly the same as you would treat any other client?
Yes, they're all exactly the same. They've got all got the same issues, the same questions. But the one thing that runs through all of the taxpayers is they resent paying tax. And the fact is that no country has ever taxed itself into prosperity. So if you think of other countries that have done very well economically, like America, America had a VAT rate of 4 to 6%, which is very low, and they had a tremendous economic boom. If you take other high tax countries like Norway and Denmark, they've had exactly the opposite. They've had a lot of economic problems and economic recession. So high taxes feed bloated bureaucrats and grace and favour MPs.
I mean, it's a very political subject, isn't it, really? I mean, it's been in a lot of press lately, and people are talking about tax all the time. I mean, have you got any tips, Negotiator, that you could give to people, perhaps listeners that are watching before? I mean, you've been on the show before, you gave us some great tips. What kind of thing could you let our viewers know?
The best tip for anybody watching the show is to go self-employed. And the reason for that is, ever since Magna Carta, which was 1215, that's 800 years ago, the rich in this country have made the tax laws, which means that the rich are the people who get the tax breaks. So if you've got your own business or you're self-employed, you've got some fantastic tax write-offs. And you contrast that to somebody who's PAYE, all they do is pay tax, 20%, 40%, national insurance. There's no chance of being rich if you're on PAYE, you've got to be self-employed.
Really, I mean, that's interesting, again, for viewers that are watching that are self-employed. So you would say, in your opinion, that's what you would do?
It is indeed, because they've got so many more tax breaks. But most of the people I deal with are wealthy, very wealthy, and companies are fine, pensions are fine, mortgages are okay, but you've got to remember that pensions and mortgages are for poor people. The super rich don't have them. They use other methods, and they're much more likely to use a tax avoidance scheme. And there are some very clever ones out there. There are ones involving teak plantations in Ghana, fine wines. There's usually a commercial side to a tax scheme and a tax side. So if you like, the two sides are a hedge. So if one doesn't work, the other will work.
The other one will, yes.
And those schemes can bring tax rates down to 0%. Now, the government have had quite a crackdown on tax schemes, and the industry has gone from £12 billion a year down to £2 billion, but it's still out there. Starbucks and Google are still doing tax avoidance. They're not paying their fair share of tax. And so are individuals. The only difference is individuals have got a lot more sneaky about it. And you'll find that a lot of the footballers and celebrities who've been outed with their taxes, they've adopted offshore schemes and trust-based schemes in places like the British Virgin Islands, which are steeped in secrecy. And so there's a massive secrecy empire around offshore trustees that protect those celebrities who are still avoiding tax. But take it from me, it's still going on out there.
Really? And I mean, there's lots of celebrities who actually take their business and themselves and go and live in another country purely just because of the tax in this country. Would you agree that, though, that's the right thing to do, or do you think they should stay and pay the taxes in our country? Well,
I don't really do right or wrong. I'm a tax accountant. All I do is apply the laws to my client's benefit, and it's very important that they don't get in trouble with HMRC. But having said that, yeah, celebrities do emigrate, and that's often seen as the ultimate form of tax avoidance, going to live abroad. But the fact is, a lot of us have to be in the UK because we've got family ties, we've got businesses here, perhaps they play for a football team that are in the UK. And so many people who are in the media and football will be UK resident, but will be using a tax avoidance scheme to keep their tax rate down to 0%.
So, I mean, so as long as you pay tax, which you have to, obviously, everybody pays tax in the UK if you work. So do you feel that the people, because like you've just said something there that I think their viewers will sort of relate to, when you said that people who go abroad to live often do it, often people will see that as a sign of just avoiding tax, but you would disagree with that. You say it's not, they're not doing it just for the tax reason, they're doing it just because maybe from a business point of view.
Yes, I think to add to that, the UK is an attractive place to live, and a lot of these people want to have their cake and eat it. They want to stay living in the UK, but they don't want to pay tax. And there are tax avoidance schemes out there that enable you to do that if you're wealthy enough.
Brilliant. Well, it's been great to have you back on The Negotiator. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay.
Thank you. So we're just going to take a quick break now, but do come back and join us in just a minute. I'm now joined by Berenice Scott, a singer-songwriter who's wowing the UK. She comes from a very musical family and sings her new single for us today on Cuppa TV. Berenice, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Your first television appearance as well.
This is indeed.
Welcome to Cuppa TV. All starts here. So Berenice, let's go back and start right from the very beginning. You come from a very musical family, don't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
So tell us about that.
Well, my dad's a musician and a producer, and my mum does a bit of singing. She's a musician too.
So really, it was always in your childhood. So was it inevitable that you would become a singer, do you think? Was it something you always wanted to do?
It wasn't, but it feels like it was inevitable. Yeah. But I certainly sang and played all my life. So.
And when you was at school, did you do anything musical at school? Did it start there?
Yeah, I did piano and trumpet and singing lessons and competitions and.
And what's your favourite instrument? What do you like to play?
Piano, definitely.
Yes, that's because that's obviously what you're going to play for us today as well, which is great. But you've done, incredible things. So tell us how did you actually start your career as a singer, Berenice? Where did that start?
Well, I just started creating little ideas and singing, and then started singing for other people, and that moved into the studio. So I really started in the studio singing for other people, and then writing my own things, and then just all becomes one thing.
Because you're a sessions musician as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I play for other people. Yeah.
Do you enjoy that?
I do. I love it. Yeah, it's great.
I suppose does that give you sort of different genres of music as well? Doesn't it? Is that how, as a musician, I should imagine that would be quite good. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. You learn so much, and every different session, there's always something to learn, and yeah.
And you're currently on tour at the moment.
Yep.
So tell us about that. Where have you been?
We've been.
If you can remember, if your head's not spinning.
A bit blurry-eyed this morning. No, we've been all around the UK, touring with original David Bowie band members, and we're celebrating The Man Who Sold the World, which is a David Bowie album. So that's been proper rock and roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed that?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So you're playing the keyboards, are you? On that?
Playing keys on that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. And again, some of the music, because I should imagine the audience then will be quite mixed.
It is really mixed.
There'll be sort of, 40 plus, but there'll be the young people in the crowd as well. Are you finding that?
Yeah, there's definitely young people, and it's just cross-general, there's a lot of people,
But do you enjoy that though? Do you enjoy playing, to a different
brilliant.
crowd?
Yeah, it's great.
What's one of the best crowds you've played to so far?
So far, Glasgow was pretty good. That was really good.
Is that just because of audience, participation, so to speak?
Yeah, different. The theatres are different, and just different crowds, different vibes, and some people are ready to party, and yeah.
And do you prefer to play to a large audience, or do you prefer like the smaller, more intimate gigs?
I don't know really. I was in a band, we supported Pink, so we were playing to massive audiences. Yes. But that's quite fun. The feeling from that is really good.
I should imagine the buzz from that would be very good.
And then smaller audiences it's nice too.
Because quite a lot of the big bands, they do tend to, even though they play, sell-out tours in the biggest arenas, but they'll always come back and just do their little sort of ad hoc, intimate gigs.
Yeah, there's something about just playing to a few people that's really special, I think.
And when you're playing, what sort of inspires you, Berenice, as a musician?
I think it's the feeling of what the song means, or the piece of music, or that's really what it's all about. Yeah.
And when your single that you're going to play for us today, Walls Cave In, now that's come off your album, hasn't
Yes,
it?
it has,
So
yeah.
your album's, is that out now?
It is out now, yeah, on iTunes, all the digital
So
things.
what's that called? Tell me.
Polarity.
Polarity.
Yeah.
And the new single, the Walls Cave In,
Yeah.
comes off of that.
It does,
so again, you wrote that song?
Yes,
did
I
you?
did, yeah.
Fantastic. And again, what made you write this particular song?
I just, that's about heartache. I found out something quite bad about, just a little bit of a secret that
Yes.
sort of wasn't very nice, and which hurt a lot. So I just thought, wrote something about it.
Some of the best songs, though, are made
yes,
from love and heartache, you know, that
That's
they
always
have.
the way, of
Yes,
course,
it's
yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
So has it got a special meaning to you, this song?
Yeah, I think it's a healing song, really, for me personally. I quite like that. Yeah, it's
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so you've been around the UK, but you're also off to Japan.
Yeah,
So UK, Japan.
forgot about that. Yeah,
So you're going next week.
yeah, we're going on Saturday. Fly out.
Are you
yeah.
looking forward to that?
Yeah, definitely.
First
yeah.
time in Japan?
First time. Yeah.
That's going to be incredible.
Have you been?
No, never been.
No,
But I mean, it's an incredible place. It always looks
Yeah.
very modern and very chic. So I should imagine it would be very modern and, you know, a kind of modern city. Obviously, very, very busy city. Where are you playing there?
We're going to Tokyo. We're playing Billboard 100 Club, or 100 Billboard Club, I don't
Yeah.
know how it's pronounced, yeah. So playing now on 2 gigs a night for 2 nights.
Fantastic. And this is with the Holy Holy.
That's right, it's with the Bowie.
This
Holy
is the
Holy,
Bowie
yeah.
band that you're here actually travelling around within the UK.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And again, any expectations from that, Berenice? What are you expecting when you go to Japan?
Wow, I've no idea. I just hope I stay awake.
Yeah, yes, because the time change. That's why. How long are you there for?
We're actually there for 2 nights,
Just 2 nights.
although it works out about 3 or 4 days.
Just stay
with the
awake.
flying,
There will be
yeah.
no sleep.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be sleeping. Yeah.
And then where do you go from that then?
Back to England, and then things calm
Gosh.
down a little bit.
It's so rock and roll.
So rock and roll.
So, but where are your roots though, Berenice? When you when you're writing, where do you go to when you write your songs? Do you go back to a special place, or can you just write on the road as you're gigging, or what happens?
That's a nice question. No, I just start with the piano really. I like just playing around with ideas and seeing what happens, whatever feels right, and then that just creates something else. And
Did you tend to
from there.
write about things that have meaning to you?
yeah, I try to. Yeah, but that's something that it has to have an emotive quality, so then
Yeah.
it can have some deeper meaning.
Yeah. And do you think the music industry's changed at all?
God, as much as anything else changes, I think people talk about that a lot, don't they? About how it's so different, but it's just progression. I think it will always change.
It's more on social media now, of course.
Yeah,
and you can,
yeah.
you know, you have EPs that go onto iTunes and you know, other mediums. Do you feel that that's beneficial for the industry, or do you feel that that's detrimental to the industry?
Well, it's definitely good for the artist to be able to put stuff out there, because before they couldn't do that. So there's pros and cons to everything, isn't there?
That's true, there is, isn't it? Well, I wish you every success with your tour, and good luck in Japan. That's amazing. And then come back and join us again
I'd love to.
and tell us all about it.
Thank
That'd
you
be
so
really
much.
good. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica.
So that's it for today's show. I would like to thank the Negotiator and Berenice for joining me, and thank you at home for watching. We'd love to hear from you, so please do get in touch, either by email, or you can join us on Facebook or Twitter at Big Centre TV. And to play us out now, we've got Berenice, who'll perform her new single, Walls Cave In. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Walking in silence, fighting fires. All this begging's about to change. All the stars in the world will never ever change you. All the lies that you told will never ever break you. They won't break diving into a sea that's cold, and all the stars in the world will never ever change you. All the lies that you told will never ever break you. It won't break you. And that's when walls cave in, a sky falls down. You push me back into the ground. Walls cave in, the sky falls down. You push me back into the ground. I do it again, I do it again, I do it all, I do it all again. I do it again, I do it again, I do it all, I do it all again. I do it again, I do it again, I do it all, I do it all again. Do it again, I do it again, I do it all, I do it all again. Walls cave in, the sky falls down. You push me back into the ground. Is this what it comes to? Is this how it feels? Is this what it comes to?